That's okay. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? My name's Eric Anderson. Thank you for joining us. I'm the owner and founder of E.R. Anderson and Associates. Thank you for joining us. Glad you can make it. I know it's a rainy day here in San Antonio, and there's an Asian festival getting ready to happen this afternoon at around 4 o'clock, so I hope many of you can join that. I know they're trying to set up for that, and I hope the rain holds off for everybody to have enjoyed time at Hemisphere. Today, also me that she's going to do a presentation a little bit, and her name is Tessa Cataville, and she does a great job in what she does, and she's going to help with some things we're going to talk about today. And we're going to look at along the lines of business details. And the details of businesses will start a little bit basic, and then we're going to go from there. Also, keep in mind, if you want to know more information, please reach out to me and ask questions of me. Maybe sit down and do one-on-one, that kind of thing, because I know these 1 hour sessions are just kind of a quick overview and not the detailed details, but just kind of bullet points that we can take further in to growing your business, growing your careers, and reaching out to more and more people. So I'm going to start off like I usually do, but this time, we're going to start off. If you've been watching these presentations, you've seen a video of the Horse Whisperer and the process he has of building that relationship and building that trust and building that organization. Now we're going to look at a different video that shows him now starting to implement trainings, implement the details. We're going to look at some other things that he does that we can parallel in growing our business. So if we could show that quick video, I would appreciate that.
How in the world can I get from this to this in less than an hour? Now the object here in the beginning is to show you that this horse could be really dangerous trade. And remember that the owner was on hunts with him. What if a plastic bag comes out of the hedge? So absolutely dangerous. How about that, kid? What do you think? Whoops. What do you think? Whoops. So what are we going to do? Easy. We're now putting obstacles into the ground bed. To begin, it's a pass.
Yeah, so keep learning that these awful-looking things are really going to hurt. And he takes his lesson quite well. We have a horse now with a different attitude about spoofing things than we had before. Even challenge that. Even with a flag over him, waving the flag around, and walking on plastic, which he couldn't stand just a few minutes before. Can I only believe what she sees? She says no. And I'll hand you this. This is upping the bar pretty good. This crinkly plastic is really noisy. But as soon as we can show him that it's not going to hurt, there's no pain involved, and I think we can put it everywhere. Remember that just a few minutes ago, this is the horse that you couldn't put a plastic bag down his hind leg. And it generally brings volatility out. I can't believe it. Just a few minutes ago. But the dude is really coming around.
He'll be able to carry the dustbins out now and everything.
We're going to try one major elevation of the bar. Dude. So what about you, dude? So it entered my mind that if I could put Bridget on, now he's in my hand. We'll just stop on the plastic now. This problem? As quiet as you can now, please. As quiet as you can. And have the dude stop on top of the plastic, and then have Bridget stand up in the side carefully standing. Join up gets that kind of trust and that kind of cooperation.
You just stop it right there. So what does that have to do with details of a business? Starting a business can be spooky, can be kind of scary, and there's fears that are going to be involved. Well, my goal is to help lower those fears and help implement processes and steps and details, just like the plastic bag and the training and all that for the horse is part of the details of that horse growing more and more as a partner with one, their customers, their employees, with themselves, and growing that company. And so setting that foundation and setting these expectations and so forth can help set that business up for success. If we just take the time and not just try to jump right into it, but take the time and not do the shortcuts, because the shortcuts are gonna come back on you. And they will sometime. It might be 5 years, it might be 5 days, it might be 5 hours, it might be 15 years. But if we start doing shortcuts, it's gonna come back and hurt us. Just like this, you can't take the shortcuts on lowering that horse's fear, anxieties, so now the horse can perform in front of thousands of people without it kicking, bucking, and no fears. Why do I say that? That horse is surrounded by 1,000 predators right now. That horse is afraid to start a business or start doing what it's doing. But that safety that it felt and that trust it felt with the management, with the leadership, with Monty, now that horse feels comfortable enough to do that. And just like us, if we can lower our fears and lower our anxieties, then we're gonna do the details. And that's what Tessa will be going over later as far as details for small businesses that I think can possibly help people out. And I'll let Tessa cover that in a little bit. But I hope you see the parallels, how this can help grow an organization, at least in the understanding of it. So that's why I chose Spooky Dude as the name, because it can be kind of spooky on some of the things we might try to do to get a business running, get it going, keep it moving. Talk about hiring people and training people, that might be a hard decision. In my experience working with other organizations all over the world, one of the biggest fears people have, the ownership or the leadership, is hiring the right people. You hire someone, then 6 weeks later you find out if it was a good hire or not. And so the first day you hire them, that night you go home maybe and you're probably sleeping, boy, I hope this person works out, and I had to go through all these processes to find the right person for that position to help my organization to grow to the next level. One of the things I look at when it comes to details of hiring people, and I'll just kind of stick with that right now, is hiring that the right person for the right position is a paramount thing. Because if you don't hire the right person, it's going to be a headache, and it's going to be a nightmare. And it's going to keep you up at night, you're going to lose sleep. So finding those right people for those right positions, especially key positions, is going to be important in details of part of this planning of business details. And looking at ourselves as owners or leaders, what do I need to know and understand to find the people for those right positions? Because I'm trying to take the headaches away. I'm trying to take the fears away. And if you already have a team of people, let's say it's just a team of 5, maybe 10 people, and you hire someone that comes in and is a cancer to that team, it is going to cause a lot of problems. And it's going to keep you up, and you're going to have to deal with interpersonal relationships and people problems on top of all the budgets and taxes and everything else that comes with running a business. So training your people is going to be one of the most important things as a business detail. An organization is only good as its people are trained. Look at the military. Whether you support the military or not, different conversation, but look at the military. What do they do all day long? They train until they throw up. They get back up after they finish throwing up, and what do? They train and train and train and train and train. That's why they're one of the best in the world. Because they keep training, they keep learning, they keep growing, they keep developing, and then they overcome fears so they can do their job. They might still have the same fears in a foxhole, but now they've grown their skills and their abilities to go out and do their jobs. Just like this horse. He did not want to go around plastic. The fear was too high. Then he started working with the horse and slowly training that horse to perform in thousands of people standing on a piece of plastic that the horse was afraid of 3 or 4 minutes before that. Now performance has increased, and that's what we want as owners. One of the details of bringing people in and growing an organization is growing our performance, including mine as the owner. What do I need to develop and change to continue? So part of this process is I'm going to help you understand what to change, how to change, and what to change to. Not just change for change's sake. When you have a system, if I make one change here in this system, it affects the whole system. So I'm going to look at what is the main thing that we can change that's going to have the greatest impact in growing your organization. And that's one of the details that we can look at. And one of them is emotional intelligence, but there's other things too. We have system constraints and we have personal constraints. We have a personal constraint theory and a system constraint theory. A system constraint would be a highway going down the road. It gets down to one lane, like a freeway, and cars start backing up. So that is a system constraint that we need to open the lanes back up. In a personal constraint, maybe I'm not coachable. Let's say I hire someone that's not trainable or coachable. Council readiness is what it's actually called. They can't be coached. What is that going to cause? That personal constraint is going to cause something in the system. So I either have to grow the person and change them and train them and develop them, or move them out of the system and find someone else. That's the importance of details. Not just in the relationships and hiring people, but details in budgets. Your supply chain stuff, if you're in that kind of organization, your inventory, all those details are going to matter. So if we can go to the next slide, please. We look at the detailed changes. I presented on this a couple of weeks ago. In 1928, the first Mickey Mouse, I don't know a kid that would want to approach that. They did about $1 million in revenue that first year, which would equate to about $19 million in the year 2020 or so, or somewhere around 20 million, somewhere around there. I'd have to look it up. But now it's a multi-billion-dollar company. They started rounding Mickey. Every year they started rounding Mickey and making him softer, more approachable. Their revenue went up. Multi-billion-dollar company, paying attention to the details of what's going to impact that system the most to help grow the organization to where I can hire more people. That type of thing. Am I going to have this kind of approach in my details of being a command control kind of leader, or approachable? The true open door policy that we hear, not just words, but the actual attitudes, and the people know, and you know with your people that they're an open door also. Not just the owner or the leadership having an open door policy, but another detail, the people that you hire are also open to the conversation. They have an open door policy themselves. It's not just one way, in other words. Next, please. Next. How to increase sales and profits all the time. Maybe give away a freebie. Find something you can give away and go for it. You see businesses do this all the time for kids' meals at fast food restaurants. to free meals with comedy defensive driving. Develop unique selling points. Discover what does your product or service stand out. Test, test, test. It is imperative to test the results of your campaigns. If you're gonna do a campaign of some kind, I suggest that you do a pilot kind of thing, maybe 10 people, 20 people, something small. Give an example. Since I'm at the Academy for Massage Therapy here at 410 in San Pedro, let's say that they take their customers' information and their zip code. And they know that 20% of they know within a 20-mile radius of this building is where 90% of their customers come from. So they're gonna market in Austin, or they're gonna market 50 miles away when 20 miles away is where 90% of their people come from. Why would I test in Austin if I'm gonna be within here? So something like that. That is a test type thing. You might as well take your hard-earned money and shred it. Many large corporations, even small businesses, often outside advertising. Don't forget to market your existing customers. Keep them informed, educating them, offering them those type of details. Oh, they're my customer now. I have found that the customers that are most loyal to me, I do more for. Meaning, back in 1996 when I started this business, about a year later, I was averaging 185 to 200 airplane trips every year for over 20 years. I was the #1 traveled person on Continental Airlines in Texas and #2 in the United States. When I would travel every week, there was some employees at the San Antonio office down in baggage claim. They kept track of me. So if I am in San Francisco and I'm finishing up on a Friday, they would actually reach out to me and say, there are delays at the San Francisco airport. We have moved you to this airport. We are going to get you home. You are not going to be on standby. They would put me in first class and get me home. If I checked my luggage, right when I came off the airplane, I would walk through out of the terminal or out of that area where you get on the plane, and they would hand my luggage to me as I'm walking to my car. Because I'm there every week. So that's what I'm saying, by those loyal customers like that, sometimes we need to do above and beyond, well, with everybody, but above and beyond, not just the one-time person that takes their kids on vacation, but on airplanes, let's say. But I'm there every week. Those type of things make a big difference in customer loyalty. Those little details matter. Customers who spend a lot of money with your business expect better treatment. Exactly what I'm saying. Remember their birthdays, holidays. Call them or email, just knowing that you care. Take enough time, 5 minutes out of your day to call will mean a lot to your customers. These are things to add into the system, your business design system. Ask customers to determine their needs, locations, effectiveness. It is 5 times easier to sell something to existing customers than to win a new customer, and it's cheaper too. Reward your customers. Show genuine appreciation. Increase your sales. I'll take the yellow pages out of it. I'm old, but we could add things in there. It's not yellow pages anymore, but there are things on Google that you can put on Google, Yelp. They look up a business and bam, yours is the first one that pops up, and those are free. Those don't cost anything to advertise that way. Don't use your business logo or name in the headline. Tell people why they should use your over your competitors. When you hire employees and you get customers, if I'm talking to people that are looking for a job, I'm like, the company is not there to solve your problems. I am hiring someone to solve mine. I have a problem in the company, let's say it's bookkeeping, and I need someone to overtake that sandbox, that role of bookkeeping, because I'm exhausted of trying to keep up with everything. When you grow a business, it's like a rubber band. It starts stretching and stretching and stretching, almost to a breaking point. Then you bring in another resource, whether that's hiring people or more training or whatever that is, to bring the rubber band back. So that's a continual process in growing a business. Think of it as a rubber band, back and forth, continually, and it never stops. That helps maybe think in a different way of looking at details and looking at what are some things. If I have it with me, which I actually do, but it's not here, I'll do it the next presentation, is a one-page strategic plan that takes that into account. It'll have your mission statement, your core values or principles. It'll have your rocks, which are the 5 things you're gonna do this quarter, the 5 things next quarter. It's a 5-year, one-page strategic plan, from hiring, all those type of things, and I take into account. And so when I say sandbox, that's part of the one-page strategic plan, and what that means is, if I hire someone for accounting, accounts receivable payable, and I hire a salesperson, I might cross-train, but the salesperson does not play in the same sandbox as this person, as accounts receivable payable. They stay in their own sandbox with their toys. I have my sandbox over here with my toys. Chanel has her over here with her toys. Yes, we understand each other for seamless transition in a company and transferring things over, but we stay in our sandbox. Well, when you're the owner and you're the only employee, everything is in your sandbox. And we want to look at what would be the best thing to take out of a sandbox to give to someone else, whether that's outsourcing or bringing someone in, and what would be best in the organization. I can't tell you what's best till we sit down and visit, to know where you're at, to know what's going on, to help with that detail of growing the organization in that one-page strategic plan. Some basics of business details. Legal name, your LLC or DBAs and S Corps, C Corps, all kinds of different legal names. Where's your location? Is your location office out of your house? Are you gonna have a brick and mortar? Are you mobile or both? How's that gonna work? Ownership structure. What's that look like as ownership structure? Will you eventually think about a business partner? Are you gonna be a venture capitalist? Are you gonna look at joint ventures? Are you gonna hire a spouse? If you hire a spouse, there's tax breaks in that. Doesn't have to be a spouse, it can be a significant other, and you're paying them. Another detail to think about in taxes, you don't necessarily want to pay yourself as the owner where you don't get income, so you're not paying that income tax, but stay legal. You're using all the profits to live off of, but you're not necessarily receiving an income. And there's a legal tax way to do that. I'm not a tax person, I'm not a CPA, I'm not trying to make anybody a CPA or tax person, but ask your tax people about how can I do this that's legal, ethical, but still where I'm not paying as many taxes. So if I'm not paying as many taxes, I can hire more people. If I have 10 people paying taxes or 5 people paying taxes, which is gonna be better revenue in the tax world? Another way of looking at it. Contact information. Registration details, an EIN, which is like your tax number, okay? Some people still just use their own personal social security number as their tax identity, which is okay to use, or a DDL. These details define the company's identity, operational structure, product services, and target market. Accurate business information is crucial for compliance, marketing, and formalizing the business entity. This is what I'm talking about, if not skipping shortcuts or taking shortcuts. sticking to the details, just like the horse. He sticks with the details. He sticks with the process. He doesn't try to take shortcuts. In fact, if he sees a gap, he adds something to that gap, so he's not taking shortcuts. Because if he takes shortcuts with that horse is gonna end up bucking and flying out of there and don't wanna be there. Gonna have high turnover rate. Registering to do a business with a government entity. Let's say that you want to do massage therapy for the city of San Antonio. Or you want to do classes for the city of San Antonio, and you can do a request for proposal. You set up your system, which I am part of the city of San Antonio as one of their vendors. And I get emails all the time for requests for proposals, correct? And so sometimes we send those in. It doesn't have to be as large as San Antonio. It can be Blanco, Texas, Verde, Leon Valley, Gulfway, which is Gulfway's population maybe 1,000 people, whatever. So there's other ways to look at government entities. I was visiting with somebody one time, and he said, I really don't want to get into the city stuff and the politics and the government because I don't like that. I said, what if the city likes what you do and they like your business and they will refer the people of the city to your business? He goes, oh, you're not thinking in the details. You're limiting, you're constraining your own company by doing that. So the city, the state, the zip, emails, things like that. The city of San Antonio, I don't know how many departments there are, but a bunch. I've had the aviation, the business development, the police, the fire, library. It's just a lot. Every department I've worked with in the city of San Antonio. And there's a bunch of them. City services, all the city services that you can think of. Go ahead. Some of you have seen this before. Now with today's details, let's look at human performance. Picture the horse. Horse performance, human performance, there's leadership, relationship, teamwork, productivity, personal mastery. The Excel model, the A, Monty calls it join up, I call it approach. That is the single most important step. Role clarity. Picture the horse. Does the horse know it knows its role, its job? Yes. That horse knows the job, the role clarity. Role clarity and the details of it for yourself and when hiring people or bringing people on is very important. In the details of it. So they know what they're doing and the expectations and the responsibilities in their sandbox. Over here, your mission statement. Do you have a mission statement? Mine, I adopted in 1991. To serve and grow by helping people break the constraints in interpersonal relationships. That's been my mission statement since 1991. That's quite a long time. There's people in this room that weren't even born yet. Oh, you were born. Super Chanel. She's great. I just like that. But Chanel is awesome. Okay, so everybody in the room is great people. But putting those details, your core principles as details. There's something I do called the full value contract. It's part of the training. It's part of the 3 days. How do you want me to treat you? How would you want Eric Anderson to treat you as the business owner, etc.? How should we treat each other? How do you think I want to be treated? And how do we treat each other during conflict? So the first question of how do you want me to treat you, I would say across the world, I've been in India, I've been in Asia, well that's Asia, but I've been in Asia, Philippines, Singapore, Russia, Australia. One word, respect. What does that look like? How do I show you respect? Well, I want you to listen. What about harassment stuff? Nope. That is a core principle. So I'm helping you define the core principles for the one-page strategic plan with your mission statement and organizational alignment in that plan to help grow that organization. And I've had 6,000 dissertations done on my company that these are proven processes that you can put, not just in business, but in at home type thing. Work processes. There's one bullet point I'm going to add to this side, the system design, learning organization. Put that into your system. If you have a team of 10 people, one person is self-motivated to learn and grow, and the others are, this one person is going to continue growing and learning, but eventually they're going to stop because the team is going to hold them back. They can only go so far. But if I have a whole team of 10 people that are self-motivated to be learning system design, and it's a learning organization on both circles, what happens? Performance goes through the roof. So I'm gonna work on these two circles all the time. I'm trying to keep them on top of each other. It's constant work. Once we get in there, it doesn't stay there. It's constant work, it's constant growth, constant development. Again, lifelong learning, being a learning organization. Yes. So now, part of the details might be health related. Some businesses and some people might not be able to offer health benefits to their employees, or they can't afford them themselves. But there might be some way we can help your company. Maybe it's a Sorry restaurant or something like that here in San Antonio. I don't know, I haven't visited with them, how they're taking care of their employees that way and themselves. But maybe it's something that we can help offer them something as part of the details of your business. And Tessie is great. She's been doing this for over almost 30 years herself. She's a nurse practitioner. We've known each other, I don't know, 8 years, probably. She works all over, and she does a great job. So Tessie, would you mind coming up and kind of giving a little bit about what you do?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tessie Carabel. I'm a family nurse practitioner for 23 years, but I have been a nurse for 30 years. I was listening to Dr. Anderson's presentation. One thing came to my mind is, to achieve all these things, we need a healthy employees, right? Physical health as well as mental health. That's very important being their productivity. Most of the time we have issues at the workplace because some may be having some issue with their personal health. So that is the place where they bring it is the workplace. That's where we spend a lot of our time. And as a small employees, we are not able to provide the help they need, and the healthcare is so expensive. Even with all these new changes in the insurance, what we are doing is only paying premium. When it comes to get the healthcare, we are getting nothing. Everything goes to deductible. So me as a nurse practitioner, I have worked with the elderly for 22 years. And what I have seen in my workplace, mainly in the nursing home, there are people who work 2-3 jobs just to put food and housing in for their kids and for them. And they have a lot of health issues, but they cannot see a doctor or they cannot get the medication and talk about the health insurance. That was kind of a hurting thing for me, and I have seen people with the high blood pressure, 180 over 110, doesn't have a provider, cannot afford to see a provider. So what I learned from the healthcare situation, what is happening today, we have the generic medications are available for the chronic condition like a high blood pressure, diabetes, chronic pain, and most of the common illness, like $5 to $10 per month. So I have started a clinic 2 years ago. The goal was to help people who cannot afford the health insurance. I have came up with a cash pay model where you can pay, my pay is like really nominal comparing to other providers. And I have contracted with a lab where we can get very cheap, price. Like normally the screening labs which take care, which check the functioning of your your heart condition, your kidney, your liver, or thyroid, or common things, usually cost like $600 to $800. I got it for $150.
Oh, wow.
So I really want, my goal is to have, extend this service to as many as people possible. And what I'm seeing is treating them and identifying what is wrong with them and treating them. It improves their health, both physically and mentally. When I see patients come to my clinic, like, very angry, very irritable, after taking care of their issues
Yeah.
with cheaper medications, which they can afford. And the next time they come, they are so happy, and so what I thought it will really help, talk to Dr. Anderson, and we can provide the service to those people, especially those who are doing small business. Keep your employee healthy and happy. That is the main secret. And you don't have to pay a lot, which, that is something I'm working with. So that's the service I provide. My clinic is at the medical center. I have a supervising doctor,
Okay.
and I'm happy to even go to the places, if their employees cannot come to the clinic, so I can go there.
To like the
and-
offices?
To the
Okay.
offices.
So what
or
kind of
the-
service? It would just be like screenings or?
What I do is I do complete care, pain management. That is the main thing people are experiencing. Pain is the horrible thing, and that affects both mentally and physically.
Yeah.
So I do the acute and chronic pain management, and the good thing is I focus on inflammation, not on adding all this pain medication, opioids.
More
and all
holistic.
those things. Just natural,
Right.
and like natural and massage, all those things,
Right.
and the vitamin supplements, everything according to what the patient can afford.
Right.
It's not something, some prescription which they cannot afford, but what they can. Then diabetes, what I learned is once you control the blood sugar, you are a different person. All your illness is gone.
Right.
And there are medications available, like, the GLP-1, like the
Yes.
Ozempic.
A lot of people have been
But
using that.
they are expensive,
Mhm.
but you can get the compounded medication for $100 or
Mhm.
something like that. I just want to share one incident about this. And I had a patient, a friend of mine referred this patient. He had insurance, and he had diabetes, and he had a cardiac, tamponade when he was like 30 years old. He had a lot of health issues, but he lost his job. For 3 years, he was not getting no health care at all, no medication. He came to me, and I did the diabetes, And his hemoglobin A1C, that is what, the normal should be below 6. And his was 12.9. And metformin, that's the only cheapest one, everything else is like thousands of dollars. And I have some supply in my samples, so I'm like, how long I can keep him with a sample? So that was kind of a burning question in my mind, how can I help this guy, and he already had a heart issue, had a cardiac surgery and all this, and he was not taking any medication for 3 years. So that's when it was like a burning question for a week, it was really bothering. And suddenly I thought of the GLP-1 I prescribe for people for weight management. And I, offered him, and that cost him maybe like $120 per month. Within 6 months, his hemoglobin A1C dropped from 12.9 to 6.4. All his symptoms are gone. He had the neuropathy, it's gone. He's like a different person. He lost weight, and all his joint pain, everything, it's gone. And he had IBS, and all these are connected with, his productivity was really very low, and he was always irritable at home. And then after a few months, once I brought his blood sugar down, it didn't cost him any, like $120 per month, and metformin is $10. So this is what I really want to, provide to all these, employees as well as people, there cannot afford the health insurance.
So if I may, Tessie and I, when we met, my dad was diagnosed with dementia. It's kind of funny, we met at the same time that my dad was diagnosed. I don't know what to call that. Divine intervention, whatever. And so she helped me walk through some of this. And she and I would do presentations like at the military place over at I-35 in Arcony, where it's mainly Army officers only live there, that everybody there is dementia. There was a nursing home that we, over here in the medical center, that everybody in that room was dementia. But she helped me understand the different kinds of dementias and different treatments. And she helped me understand that there's an acid, and this is her expertise, not mine. But she's done a lot of studies on this stuff where there's some acidic levels inside of us that can possibly even prevent the dementia to begin with. I've seen a lot of the things that she's done, and we've talked over the years about how her finding, I'm going to call it a medical constraint, but the main diagnosis, if we can get to the main diagnosis, to the core, that helps eliminate a lot of things within the system. I'm thinking global, but in the medical thing, but walking through that. And one of the questions I asked Tessie after one of the presentations, we went and sat down and had lunch, and I looked at her and I said, what percentage, just the United States, let's just take the United States, what percentage of the people in the United States understands the dementia issues and problems to the level that you do? And she looked at me and she said, 1% of the medical population knows. Like, wow. I'm like, okay. So that's a lot of education in my mind that needs to take place. Not just with the medical, but across the board, and not just dementia, but a lot of the other things. So she has taken a lifetime of her studies of putting this stuff together. And so I appreciate her help with all of this. And she does have, even for myself, a medication that I was taking for a while. The price, the lowering of the cost was huge, very huge. I was paying, I won't say what I was paying per month, but it was now $5 a month. Like, okay, that's a Coke a day or something, right? Not even that. That's a penny a day or something. And I'm like, so if we can find for businesses and people that are on low incomes or hurting financially, et cetera, to help them with their not just mental health, but physical health and both. And I think Tessie is a person that can do that. So I want to thank you. I don't want to interrupt anything else you want to go over.
No.
So please continue.
And like Dr. Anderson talked about dementia, that was like an eye-opening for me. I worked with patients with dementia for 23 years, but when I did my doctorate, I myself realized, wow, that is something, that's a huge area. Unfortunately, after 50, we all are at high risk. We need to start now to prevent that. The chronic inflammation we all have from our food, our environment, whatever we are exposed to can be prevented, and that will prevent our chronic illness, diabetes, hypertension, brain inflammation, kidney disease, and as well as our depression and anxiety also. So I'm here to help you.
And where are you
Lowering
located?
I'm located at Medical Center,
Mhm.
and it's next to the Methodist Transplant, next to the Methodist
Okay.
Transplant Hospital.
Mhm.
And here is my address and phone number
Mhm.
and email, and you can contact me, and I'll be glad to help you out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tessie, thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Thank
I'll keep that one up so we can take a photo.
Yes,
Ah.
yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, just go and keep things there and stuff, so. But I want to thank you for that. And to me, that's part of the business details. Because if your people are hurting physically, their performance and stuff at work and at their families, and to me, it's, if nothing else, being as healthy as possible for your family as possible, and for your business too. But being mentally and emotionally healthy, physically, is going to impact the details, if you want to call it that, of your organization, whether that's family or business. Finding the constraint, whatever you want to call it, constraint, hold you back, whatever. We break that constraint. We identify the main constraint and we break it. It affects the whole system. And Tessie does a great job of that in the medical world. She just does a great job of it. She's very humble. She called me this morning going, am I really presenting? Yes, you are. So she does a great job. So business details. If you want more information, okay, you can reach out to me. There is a booklet or a packet. It's about 58 pages or 60 pages of laying out your business details. Again, there's the one-page strategic plan that we can share from the PACC, GSA, and across the state of growing not just PACC, but also growing your family, growing your business. You can do a one-page strategic plan on growing your personal life too, that we're here to support, and the business life. We want that healthy. People say they want that work-life balance and a personal life balance. Let's call that a healthy balance. Let's find the healthy balance between your work life and your home life or personal life, if that's what you want to call that. But getting a healthy balance. I am hearing a lot of things right now, a lot of people getting burned out in lots of organizations, and they're running on fumes. Well, let's get it full capacity. Sharing the details, starting, running. If you already started a business, this is part of the details. It's a step-by-step guide of doing that. It includes a lot of things in it. So please feel free to reach out if you have questions. I know people have other things they need to get done today. So I think we're cutting this one short. I'm Eric Anderson. Thank you for joining us, and we wish you nothing but the best. Thank you.